Ladies and gentlemen, welcome in another live stream. Crypto nuke. Is it seriously nuking right now? Dude, I didn't even, it wasn't really nuking when I saw it. Have to look at my watch list. Holy hell, dude. I mean, it depends. Depends what coin you're in, I guess. I don't know. I know the top coins are probably nuking right now. High market cap. Yeah, let's look at this. And I mean, no, it really didn't negatively react. I mean, certain sectors a little bit negative. Well, that's not too bad for all these tariffs going into place. I wonder what'll happen tomorrow. Well, didn't he announce it after market close? That's probably why. Yeah, XRP down 13%. Ethereum, dude, Ethereum down under 1,800. What are you gonna do? Buying opportunities? Yeah, I mean, dude, I'm literally just gonna like pick 5 or 6 coins that I like and just say, all right, I'm just gonna stay in these and just consolidate my portfolio. It's just annoying dealing with all this. You're starting shortly is a cool backdrop. Is there a story? Oh, to that thing? No, there's no story. I mean, I used to have a different one. I really should add music to it or something. But yeah, I used to have a different backdrop or whatever for the stream is starting, but then I just changed it to that one. I think because I accidentally deleted my last one, like the file of it. So that's why I got changed. Check after hours. Yeah, I don't think I want. I mean, it's probably gonna be very bad tomorrow. Well, dude, that's another fucking double whammy. Right. Because you're gonna get the stock market speculation or the crypto speculation where it's gonna be down tonight, and then when the market inevitably opens horrible tomorrow, it's gonna get nuked again. Crypto is. It's always a double whammy, I swear, with crypto. It's like this shit either happens on the weekends and then crypto reacts, and then the Monday happens and the market opens way down and then crypto reacts again. Or it's like some fucking after hours shit where he announces it late. It's going to go into effect at midnight. I know, but if he would have announced it earlier, it would have had more of an effect on the stock market today. It's just the timing of when he did it, I guess. Higher tariffs than expected. I mean, nobody really knew what to expect, honestly, man. Like, if you talk to people, Trump was just in general very wishy-washy on tariffs. I don't think anyone really knew what to expect. I mean, you could say, well, it's 25% for all these countries. China is up to 54% tariffs now. No, there it is right there. 54% tariffs after the 34, because there was already 20% tariffs on China. So now they're up to 54% tariff. Why wasn't Russia a part of the list when Trump was threatening tariffs on Russian oil? Venezuela wasn't mentioned as well. You know, I heard something about Venezuela possibly cooperating, but I don't know because Vietnam cooperated and Trump still tariffed the hell out of them. But you know, I would imagine when it comes to Russia in general, that's probably a different situation entirely. When you're talking about a war situation, it's more of a negotiating chip, so you're not just automatically going to lump them in with all these other countries. Trump wants Putin to cooperate when it comes to a ceasefire, and if he doesn't, then that was a threat that was levied by Trump to tariff Russia. But it really wouldn't be lumped in with this because you give Putin time to respond and things like that. I mean, maybe it'll eventually happen if Putin doesn't want to negotiate a peace deal. Apparently, tariffs on aluminum, steel, and pharma were carved out. You mean they were exempted? Yeah, but this type of stuff, I mean, they have a bad approval rating. It's an off year though. They still do well in those special elections. The Democrats do. Yeah, again, this is another false equivalency. They're trying to compare the Great Depression being caused by this act which limited international trade. The Great Depression was caused by the stock market crashing. I mean, like, but it's this cope from these people. Will XRP recover tomorrow? It'll probably go down more, I would imagine, because the market's going to tank when it opens tomorrow. Market was expecting 25% max baseline, not country specific. Yeah, I mean, I did hear the 25%, but I also heard nobody really knew what to expect when it came to Trump. Also, they were expecting dirty 15, not 60 countries. Well, isn't it? It's like everything that's imported into the United States is a flat 10% tariff now. The immediate reaction on Canadian news was that they had no idea the actual tariffs on Canada will be. Does anyone know this? Yeah, well, the situation with Canada, it seems like there's going to be a renegotiation of that trade deal. Trump's been pretty wishy-washy on both Canada and Mexico, but neither of them got hit with any tariffs today because it's all protected anyways under the North American trade agreement that we have with you guys. So I would say that there's probably going to be a renegotiation, and there's both countries are going to eliminate all tariffs. Did you hear what Doug Ford said? He said he was going to eliminate tariffs on us if we eliminate tariffs on them. So whether or not Trump likes that or not, that'll really be the dependent, and the negotiations will depend as well. The people stole some shit out of your garage. You're pissed. What did they steal? A lot of value. You just hope long term they stay. Whoever comes in. Well, I don't even know if they're going to stay in the short term with Trump. Trump really needs to be honest about what he wants with the tariffs. I think he's waiting to see how the market reacts, I guess. But I would really like for Trump to lay out a plan and commit to some of these tariffs, or say, because some of this could be to try and get the countries to remove the tariffs on us. Tariffs don't help anyone. Well, certainly, I mean, they have to be used by the United States. It's mainly because of these countries and their worker rights compared to us, and how easy it is and cheaper it is to produce it. I agree, we do need to trade with countries for sure, but for the United States, we're just getting fucked so badly in trade, and tariffs are really the only option we have. Do you see Rand Paul complaining about tariffs? Yeah, he is against the auto tariffs because they're gonna hit. I think they're gonna hurt Kentucky really badly. Great buying opportunities ahead. I mean, we'll see what happens tomorrow with the market. Yeah, I mean, it's. I'm guessing that you could argue that this is the absolute bottom, but I mean, we've said that before. But I just don't know what Trump's future plan is with tariffs. You would have to think this is like the grand finale in terms of the tariffs he's imposing, considering it's. I mean, I just don't want it to be wishy-washy, because then it's a problem with the market. Trump has played this perfectly. Yeah, I mean, all of this short-term shit that we're talking about is really irrelevant when it comes to his administration. Nobody's going to give a fuck about the first 3 months of his administration being rocky if the tariffs end up paying off. But we have to sit here and react to it like immediately and say, oh, you know, the market's going to go down and all this shit. I mean, it really is irrelevant if from 5 years from now we look back and it ends up paying off in terms of domestic production or in terms of revenue for us. So the 25% auto tariff does not apply to Canada anymore. Well, the 25% auto tariff was not announced today. It was announced, what was it announced, like 5 days ago, 7 days or something like that. Well, I heard some conflicting reports on that. I heard a lot of the trade that we had with you guys when it came to automobiles was protected under the North American Trade Agreement. I don't know if that's true, but there was like original fear mongering that it was going to taint Canada. The problem is the liberals in Canada realize that the fear mongering with Trump's tariffs is really helping them win this election. So they're going to say a bunch of stuff that's going to be like, well, Trump's doing this terrible thing. It's really bad. And so it kind of pits all of the liberals together against conservatives in Canada because Trump's a conservative, and that's kind of the dynamic there. Do you think this is a good move if AI will replace manufacturing? Well, I mean, it depends what you mean replace. I think we're a while away from AI replacing manufacturing, man. I mean, look at the manufacturing China's built up. Plus, the people still think that China's at our level or ahead in some form in terms of AI, anyways. And they still have they're building up a fuck ton of factories. People are blindly voting for Carney because he's a money guy, and he was the head banker of Canada, England, without knowing his actual policy. Yeah, I mean, but dude, honestly, it's just because your country's liberal. I mean, that's what it is, and so you've got all the liberal parties start realizing that this election, it's if they vote for their own parties, it's kind of a wasted vote because you're potentially helping elect. Sorry, I've been away from this microphone. You're potentially helping elect the conservative Paul Vier. So they're coming together. It's and all voting for Carney. I mean, Carney's obviously ridiculous. I mean, what has he done to actually deserve that position? I mean, he's been leading Canada for like a month now. Market's down, but eventually it will go back up. Buy some stocks while they're cheap. Yeah, I mean, tomorrow is probably going to be, as long as there's no more crazy announcements, tomorrow's probably going to be, I assume tomorrow we'll start hearing a headline, a country agrees to remove tariff. I know that's the thing with Trump is you just don't know how many of these are going to stay in place. And so Trump will be able to spin this as a huge win if you just get a smorgasbord of countries that, basically it's, if we're tariffing you and you're tariffing us, what's the point of having tariffs on in the first place? And plus, Trump was nice to Canada and Mexico anyways. If people want to talk about us tariffing every single country, Trump could have hit them and he didn't. I mean, he's already hit them, sure. China is selling BlackRock buying Panama Canal as U.S.-backed deal, saying Trump backs BlackRock. Well, yeah, obviously Trump would much rather have the canal in the hands of BlackRock than a Chinese-based company like Hong Kong. I mean, that's obvious. It was always the meddling the Chinese had. I mean, that's their strategy. They buy up ports surrounding the canal and then they have influence over it. How long until the Great Reset? I appreciate that. How long until the larger U.S. economy stabilizes and we start seeing the fruits of these efforts? Yeah, I mean, well, first we're going to have to know how many of these tariffs are staying in place. I want to know Trump's long-term tariff strategy, but it's months. It is months. I mean, it can recover, within a month or two, depending on if this is it for Trump. But in terms of us actually seeing things happen to where, I mean, we want the interest rates to go down mainly. We need inflation to stay down, interest rates go down. This is a multi-month process. It's not going to happen within a month just because Trump has announced the final tariffs. I mean, yeah, that would stabilize things because there would be less murkiness if Trump said, all right, I'm done with tariffs. This is what we're going with. Because the markets had a real tough time because Trump will not be completely, I mean, nobody even knew he was going to do this. I mean, people thought, well, there was going to be some type of tariff, but nobody knew it was going to be like this. Wouldn't a drone strike on the cartel, if he does it wouldn't affect that trade with Mexico since Mexico has Russian level nationalism? And would that affect, you think, a drone strike on the cartel? Well, listen, Mexico's got big problems in terms of the cartel control. If they're Mexico should be helping the United States fight the cartels. And there should be communication between the governments when it comes to the United States operating. I mean, obviously, if they don't want us doing drone strikes and we do it, that's going to affect relations with Mexico for sure. But you would think the cartels would be a negative for the Mexican government considering the corruption it creates. But I mean, that's the problem, is if they're already intertwined with them, the cartels could have influence within the Mexican government, and the Mexican government then could say, no, we don't want U.S. involvement in, how we handle the cartels, because the cartels are technically influencing their own government. So, I mean, I don't know. I just, how much influence do the cartels have within the Mexican government? If it's a lot, well, then it's going to be an issue. If they actually want to stop major corruption in their country, they need to accept the United States helping them in terms of what they're doing against the cartels, if Trump wants to fight the cartels. Some people worship the status quo, and the only way the world can work, however, it's... Yeah, no, I agree with you on that. Talking about how, like with these tariffs and people fear-mongering, saying, oh my god, it's going to go down tomorrow. Like, and I'm not talking about this chat, just in general. I mean, I know liberals have to do it. The one thing I was thinking, it's like, when it comes to what Trump does, liberals either hate it or they don't talk about it. Because, it's something that either is, it's like non-debatably good for the country, so they just won't talk about it, or they'll just hate it. And something like this, I mean, dude, with the United States and where we're at in terms of our debt and our deficit, and look, maybe Trump won't be able to fix it. I don't know. You really can't fix it in 4 years. It's impossible. I mean, you can put the country on a better path, but it's like something has to be done. Like something. We can't keep going on with this. I mean, if you want to argue, well, Biden had bad inflation because they had to do it and they had to print all the money because the economy was fucked because of COVID. But it's like, now we're trying to get out of this, and it's this weird position that really, when you think about how much money was infused in the 9% inflation we had in 2022, Trump takes over. He takes over with higher inflation. He takes over with higher interest rates. That's not a good combination. You're trying to correct that immediately as quick as you can, and that doesn't... the stock market is not going to go up because you're trying to correct those things. There's going to be turmoil when you do that. So it's really like a multi-year thing, and people just don't have patience for it. But also with Trump, it's like, it's hard to completely fix the U.S. economy in the span of 2, 3, 4 years. It's just... But it's just how the terms work. And with Trump, unfortunately, with how old he is anyways, whether you think he can run again, but it's hard. You think the tariffs on many of the trading partners will be reduced significantly while the tariffs on China will be reduced slightly? Trump sees China as a piggy bank. Yeah, I agree. I mean, Trump really stuck to the tariffs in his first term on China. So I don't see the tariffs on China changing very much. But I mean, if what you're saying is true, then Trump, it was all kind of just just to get the tariffs that these countries have on the U.S. off. It wasn't necessarily for revenue, generating revenue, which you could argue is what Trump is trying to do. I mean, Trump has to get money from somewhere, or what I mean is like save money somewhere else. You either generate money through the revenue of these tariffs, because he has to do his no tax on tips. That's why there was a report that Trump was looking at raising taxes slightly on ultra rich people, because he has to pay for the no tax on tips somehow. We have a $2 trillion deficit. Like, we're not in the business of doing these. We could do them. It's just you have to save money elsewhere. So hopefully they're able to save money through the Department of Government Efficiency. I would really like an update on that and what they're doing. I know they're trying to like manipulate now. I don't know, with Elon and the Elon stuff, they're starting to say, well, Elon's leaving because, I mean, honestly, it probably does have something to do with the Tesla stuff, because his company has been ravaged because of these liberals. See, you can see Trump has told his inner circle and members of the cabinet that Musk will be stepping back in the coming weeks. And so basically the Trump administration spin is that, well, Musk is doing this. It was always planned. I thought it was planned for 2026. It would end. I didn't know that. See, I think they're probably saying, all right, this is really, and Musk is probably like, this is really hurting my company. and maybe it's not good. Musk and Trump have both publicly stated Elon will depart from service as a special government employee when his work at DOGE. Yeah, but we expected his work to continue through to 2026. I think that's the difference. But look, whatever it is, I mean, I can understand with Musk and just how crazy the liberals have been in terms of the, what you want to call them, terrorist attack. You want to call, I mean, these people just can't act right, and they are obsessed. And I mean, it's just the downfall of modern America, what these people are doing and how they're pumped with this propaganda to go out and just key cars and cause all this damage and firebomb dealerships. This is just terrible culture. Like, how are people brought up in this country and think this way and think it's acceptable to do this? This is pathetic, and it just shows you how far our country is from being in an amazing spot. When people think, and it's not just like 10 people doing this. I mean, there's loads of them. Now, some of them are being paid, sure, but you've got people going to jail for 20 years because they firebombed a dealership. Like, bro, what are you doing? It's just these ravenous liberals are just upset, and like for what exactly? I mean, the guy's a billionaire either way. I don't get it, but yeah, sorry guys. I was going on a rant there. I'll have to respond to some of these comments. Sean, I appreciate it, man. The whale has landed. The reciprocal tariffs are negotiating tools. The 10% tariff is the moneymaker long-term. Goldman Sachs predicted 3 rate cuts in 25. Trump tax cut need to be done by the summer, and we start booming in Q2 2020. Yeah, well, I'll agree with you that it is going to take time to get everything squared away. And you might be right, because I did look at a inflation projection, and there is a projection on inflation going up in Q3. That's where you get the stagflation from. But apparently Q1 of 26 inflation is going to be possibly under 2%, the core inflation, which is what the Fed always looks at. See, I hope that the thing is with crypto, I just don't know how the cycle is going to work, because we're running out of time, for like favorable economic conditions. But I agree with you. I think it is going to take some time. We might not start going until all this gets solved and figured out, and maybe it is Q2. Everyone is a tariff expert these days. Yeah, right. I mean, the thing with tariffs, it's very hard because we don't know if Trump is going to keep these tariffs on, if he's going to take some of them off. So predicting exactly what comes of this, and then we also don't know when it comes to the U.S. companies. This is a variable that we really can't fully predict. The amount of these companies that are just going to pay and say, well, we have to, import this. We're not going to be able to domestically produce it. We'll pay the tariff, which will generate revenue. But then since they're paying the tariff, they're going to raise their prices. Or if they say, we're not going to pay it, we're not doing trade with China because of this 24% or 44% tariff, now we're going to domestically produce. We don't know the variable of how many. I mean, you could estimate it, I'm sure, and they probably do, but people like us, we're not going to know that exactly. We're just going to give vague answers on it. So yeah, I mean, you're going to have people that say the tariffs are good, they're bad. I mean, this is the economic trade-offs that we have to deal with. There's problems. When you do this stuff, there's always going to be a trade-off. Isn't Musk also a senior advisor? Yeah, wasn't there a report that Musk was an actual senior advisor rather than being a special government employee? I did see that somewhere. You're right. I don't know if they've changed that or what that is. I mean, I'm not sure it really matters. Whatever happened to the Epstein files, right? Yeah, I mean, I don't know, man. We'll have to see something comes out of that at some point. I mean, we're not going to get anything special out of the Epstein files, I don't think. But to be fair to Trump, he did give us some good stuff with the JFK stuff. I think he surprised a lot of people with the stuff that got declassified with JFK, and you've got the Epstein stuff, you've got the 9/11 stuff, you've got the Diddy files people talk about. So we'll see. Special employees can't work for more than 6 months out of the year. Well, that's why they probably elevated him to whatever that other titles he was. They deleted a terabyte of financial data to cover for their crimes, but they don't understand technology, so we recovered it. The government. I did see that somewhere. When Musk was designated as a special government employee on February 4th, that he's limited to 130 days out of 365. Yeah, that's why they might have changed his title. But either way, I mean, dude, honestly, and I like, I think Elon's done some really good stuff. I think Elon's probably like, my company's getting destroyed here. We're gonna have to take a step back. Honestly, that might be what it is. But it's also one of those things to where the Trump administration can kind of swing it like, well, this was always going to happen. We were always going to do this. He was always going to depart. And maybe the government efficiency continues until 2026. But I don't think Musk expected this reaction from these people that to where it's such a negative situation for him. Cutting military spending will save us a lot of money. Yeah, but I mean that's another thing to where you're not spending money, so technically it's not great for the economy. But it's like cutting an umbilical cord. I mean you have to do it. So they do have to cut the military to a degree. I know Trump was talking about cutting it by 8%. Technically, in that CR, the continuing resolution, they were upping the military budget, but I think within the 4 years he wanted to cut it a total of 8%. And he wanted Russia and China to also cut theirs, which doesn't make any sense. I don't know. Doesn't China have like half of our military budget or something? I don't know if that's true or not. I was like, it seems like they should have less than that. But China's been building up their military like crazy. It becomes a problem if you cut too much. And what is that down? Wow. What is that, after hours trading? Nike? Moonlight, I appreciate it. You learned today that Mormons believe that Sasquatch is Cain from the Bible. There's your fun fact for the day. Well, I appreciate that. I appreciate that, Moonlight. Thoughts on new torpedo bats and MLB? Yeah, I don't know. I mean, we'll have to see. That's something to where if it gets ridiculous, they're gonna have to remove it. MLB's just totally messed up because of the barrel bullshit and stuff. There's just too many players just trying to hit home runs. They strike out fucking 400 times, and MLB, it's whatever. But this is what these sports devolve into. Like, you look at MLB, the average is so down. But you know what? They were dealing with like a dead ball thing where the average OPS across the league was horrible in 2020, maybe 2023, 2024. I don't know what fucking year it is. It is 2025. God damn. Yeah, so in 2024, they were dealing with a really bad offensive situation. So maybe those bats will help. 9% chance of Fed cut on May 7th. Did it go up? It's probably not going to happen, dude. I wonder if it went up at all because of the. Yeah, it actually did because of the tariffs. And dude, this alone, honestly, most people won't. They think, oh, it's nothing. This type of stuff is some of the reason why Trump is doing the tariffs, because he needs this Fed cut, man. But obviously, this is not a big. It's not like it goes from 87% to 20%. But man, we might get a June cut. Imagine. I mean, I'd love a May cut, but we get a June cut maybe. I mean, let's see what the inflation numbers come out. I think the inflation's going to come out lower again, hopefully, on the 10th. Does the Wisconsin Supreme Court case cook the nation? What that election? That election was obviously very bad. I didn't think it would be a 10-point margin. It's very bad result. True senior advisor requires Senate confirmation. Regular federal employee requires financial disclosure. 130-day limit. He must be a SGE. Well, yeah, so maybe he is limited in terms of that, but then why would you work every day? Why wouldn't you just spread it out if you're 130 days limited? It's overblown, the torpedo bat. Yeah, I mean, it is a crazy design, so I guess it's kind of understandable. Wyoming is a swing state. Yeah, I remember that. You love Trump gambling his presidency on something he truly believes in. It takes balls. Well, yeah, the tariffs are going to be a major part of his second term, whether people like it or not. I mean, we'll see what he does with them. I mean, if he doesn't commit to them, I guess maybe not so much. But if he commits to them and trying to bring domestic production to the U.S., I mean, it's just you're just limited in terms of time. Within power. What's with Democrats fearing Russia? Obama said that they are a regional power. Russia's military is nowhere near close to us. The EU should worry about Russia more. Well, I mean, we all we agree with that, man. You'd have to go to liberals and talk to them, but a lot of it is to be fair to liberals. Well, I mean, I honestly think you could argue, and obviously it's not gonna because of the bloodshed. I mean, I understand what Russia did invading Ukraine and stuff, but what China is doing with Belt and Road in terms of proxy power is significantly more than even what Russia is doing in Ukraine. I mean, it's all over the world, and it's taking advantage of a lot of African countries. That's how they're able to get a lot of that cobalt from the Congo, because they just give horribly predatory loans, and the countries are too poor to pay them back, and so they steal all their minerals. But yeah, I mean, we all know that China. I think even liberals admit. I don't really hear any liberals saying, "Well, Russia's more of a threat than China." I mean, yeah, they were probably saying that like right when the war started, but with where we're at in their military performance, Russia's military performance, I don't think really many liberals are saying that Russia is more of a threat than China. I saw something. I wanted to do a video on it. Maybe I'll do it tomorrow. I'm getting the sense that the Trump administration really supports Taiwan, which is maybe a little bit surprising. I mean, I know, the United States is obviously going to support Taiwan, but with Trump, it seems like it's this pay for play thing where, if you want U.S. support, foreign support, we need something from you outside of Israel. It's like that. But it seems like from what I saw, China is not happy. Pete Hegseth was in like the Pacific area, talking in like the Philippines, trying to shore up relationships. It seems like they really support Taiwan. The U.S. does. So I don't know. I'm gonna have to read more articles on that, but I might do a video on it because it's interesting. Because the only thing I'd heard Trump really say about Taiwan and China was that, well, if Taiwan wants our support, they need to give us something, and maybe they did. Maybe the semiconductor investment bought Taiwan some good relations, but they still got tariffed to hell today. So I don't know. Legacy media outlets been reporting about stagflation appears to be the new buzzword for 2025 after Liberation Day tariffs. Right. Well, they originally were talking about a recession, and then they got the new updated numbers, and the Q1 GDP looks like it's going to grow. So how can you talk about a recession? You'd be talking about Q2 and Q3. They can't really do that because there's no fear mongering there. They were hoping for a negative growth on Q1 so they could talk about it, but it's not looking like that. So they have to change it to stagflation, which really hasn't been a huge thing in the United States since the 70s. But now you hear them talking about, oh, the Great Depression was caused by a lack of international trade. Well, no, it was caused by the Roaring 20s and the amount of stock that was bought on margins, and that caused the crash. So see how they lie about this stuff? They take one little factoid and manipulate it and say, well, this act that got passed in 1929 or 1930 limited our trade. It's like, Listen, I'm not saying we shouldn't trade with countries. We absolutely should. But obviously, there's a gauge, and you have to have domestic manufacturing. You have to be able to make things and produce things on your own. We learned this during the pandemic, and then everyone forgot it. But I mean, even liberals agree with the tariffs on China. It's just they don't like the tariffs like, well, the EU. I mean, there's a clear difference between conservative and Democrat in our belief system within the EU. I mean, obviously, Democrats are going to like the EU more because they're liberal. If the EU was more moderate in terms of their politics, I think we would have a lot better of a relationship with the EU, but they're not. They're extremely liberal, and some of the countries are banning conservative candidates, and it's really bad, and so we don't support that. And then they cry and they bitch and they moan when Trump wants to end this war. It's just, I mean, Trump was elected to end this war, so we're trying to end it. I mean, look at this. Duke is like running away with this. Holy shit. Duke's at like a 50% chance to win the title. I guess it is the Final Four. I think Oracle's going to acquire it. Isn't Larry Ellison just a part of Oracle anyways? Down 100K in after hours. Your portfolio was down 100K. Well, listen, you must have a fuck ton of money. I've been down crazy money, but in crypto where it swings like that, I guess it depends what kind of stocks you're in. Did you see Vivek? He did a rally today. Well, I mean, I've seen some Vivek is doing rallies like every day. I see on Instagram. But yeah, it's the primary for Ohio. How is Auburn so underrated? I don't know. Auburn kind of finished the season bad. That's why they finished it with like 3 or 4 losses in their last 6 games, something like that. So people kind of didn't like Auburn, even though they're legit like they were the number 1 seed coming into the tournament. Is the Poly Market ceasefire coin at 7%? Well, it's not a coin. It's just you buy shares of it. It's probably less than 7% because more time has passed. Yeah, it's down to 5%. Yeah, here you go, man. It's at 5% for you. $200. I don't know. I said $200. 4,000. No, I don't know, man. Oh, that's ending the war. That's not even a ceasefire. Oh, it is a ceasefire. Yeah, we discussed this. But see, that this is not the right verbiage. A ceasefire is not an end. It's, if you're talking about ending the war, you would need a peace deal. Or maybe it all happens at the same time. I know someone was saying that Putin wanted to do that. Yeah, I saw that podcast that PBD had with the right wing guy. Hockey, I saw that. Yeah, I don't know. It did seem. It seems like he's just so obsessed with Pierre and having him on, and it's like, well, you know what it is, man. It's the power trip with these guys. They put their name out there. They say, hey, we'd love to have you on. That's probably what happened, and then there's no response. It doesn't end up happening, and these podcast guys, they think that they are the media and they should have access to these politicians because Trump went everywhere and did that and it won. And so now the podcast people they've got to have crazy egos at this point after Trump won, and it kind of validated their whole power structure within podcasts, because that was the whole thing, right? Barron Trump said, go and do all these podcasts, and people say, well, that won Trump the election. Well, no, a lot of factors go into winning an election. A lot of the Democrat mishaps won Trump the election as well. It's not as simple as going and doing podcasts. You got to be tough to be in crypto. Yeah, you get numb to it at a certain point, and it just, it is what it is. But, I've dealt with so many gains, losses, things like that. So it's whatever. Is TikTok really getting banned? I think no. I think Oracle's going to buy it. But I don't know. That's just speculation. Candace Owens says Trump is a Zionist. Well, Candace Owens is obsessed with Israel. I mean, we're gonna sit here and talk about this again. Candace Owens is like, you know what? I saw a video from Candace Owens today. She's like, can somebody tell me what Elon Musk has done? Has he done one thing that's like conservative? How about freeing up speech on X? That's kind of a big thing. But I mean, it's like, look, I'm not saying Elon Musk is a great conservative, but I mean, these people, they're just, there's this grift now to hate on Trump from the conservative angle, and obviously, if there's a Middle East war, it's going to be complete cancer. It's going to be terrible because, I can't defend that. But, hopefully, Trump does this with negotiations to where he says, I'm going to bomb you if you don't do this. And hopefully they'll end up doing some type of a nuclear deal. That would be very good because Israel doesn't really want a nuclear deal. That would be good against that. Thoughts on Cuban being pissed? Mark Cuban? He's pissed about the tariffs, or I never heard about Mark Cuban recently. Huh. Well, I mean, they always tweet shit like this. Oh, it's 300 million. Well, I mean, obviously it's going to go down a bit. The problem is this is probably just the start. Once the market opens really low tomorrow, it's going to be, God, I can't believe, I forgot that Trump announced that late. That's really annoying. Because that means that, it's going to go down again tomorrow. I realized that when I started the stream. U.S. Senate votes to roll back Trump's tariffs on Canada 51-48. What does this mean? In terms of what? We were going to work out a deal with Canada. Why would we roll back tariffs right now? They were capitulating. I don't know what this is. We didn't even tariff Canada today. What caused coins to go up or down? It's just money flow. But with this, it's because of the tariffs. It's short term very bearish. If you get burnt gambling on shitcoins, you have nobody to blame but yourself. No, I agree with you. It's the game. I mean, if you're investing into shit that may make you rich, or it's very likely to make you, it's part of the whole thing. So no, I agree with that 100%. And that's why people, when they like try and cope when they lose money and say, well, it's like, dude, if you're investing in this shit, like, come on. It's like the people that invested in a Hawk Tuah, like, seriously, you want to sue? Like, what are you buying? But I mean, I buy shit. I don't buy that, but the new guy, Randy Fine, is not loyal to America. I know, but you're talking about like a district. It's like, obviously those type of guys need to be out of the U.S. government. But I mean, how are we going to do that in this period right now? Obviously, Trump still has serious support for Israel. So I mean, it's the guy is not good. I agree, but what are you going to do? He'll vote Republican on things, but again, he's going to be very pro-Israel when it comes to the Middle East, which is a problem. Stocks are fucked after hours. Yeah, I've been hearing people say that. I've seen some too, like really bad. Maybe I should look at the Nasdaq 100 instead of the S&P. It looks cleaner. What are you drinking? I was drinking Pepsi. There's like a fourth of the can left of it when I started this stream. It's actually probably better that I drink like watered down fucking Pepsi or shit, because then I won't guzzle it or drink a lot of it. You're investing in fat? Yeah, I seen that coin. Why would they let that bill come to the floor? I mean, what even is in that bill? They're saying they're going to rein in tariffs. So what is the verbiage of that? From what I've seen, and listen, I'll have to look at this because that seems absurd. Why would we disrupt our current trading relationship with Canada? We've sacrificed in terms of turmoil within the stock market, and we got Canada to basically say, all right, we'll renegotiate, which means we're going to get a better trade deal if we're going to do that. Why would we then vote through the Senate to remove the tariffs that were going to give us a better trade deal after suffering? Because obviously there's going to be short-term financial turmoil if you do tariffs with Canada, who's a big trading partner. But I don't know if it was because of the auto tariffs or what, but Canada didn't even get tariffs today. I think it was because of the auto tariffs, because I know Rand Paul hates those. Did you see the Social Security information Elon let out? Immigrants getting free ride. Well, what about illegals getting Social Security numbers? Is that? I mean, this is a total mess. It's a complete mess. It's out of control. I mean, they were talking about that, in Wisconsin, and just, I mean, obviously it didn't work for Wisconsin. But how about CNN still bitching about Musk having money in politics? Like, I just can't do it anymore. There's got to be a conservative on CNN that says, you guys spend more money every election. And then they try and say, well, Musk is out, doing campaigns. Yes, that's better. That means he's not manipulating things behind the scenes. You can actually see it. There's transparency. Like they're telling on themselves. You don't care about stocks. Well, if you're a crypto person, you have to care about stocks. I mean, it's all money flow. You feel like Trump bluffs a lot? Yeah, he does, especially with the tariffs. I mean, I don't know how long these are going to stay on. I'm not sure. Piers Morgan and Cuban are bitching. Well, what is Cuban? Is Cuban angry at the tariffs? Dude, I can't even fucking with this goddamn thing. I gotta start looking at the keyboard. Good for American consumers? Yeah, what a loaded question. Well, because he's asking it like, oh, it's gonna raise your prices. Apple or Android? I've always had Apple. Yeah, I've never had Android. I don't have anything against Android, but I've always had Apple stuff. I've got an iPad. I actually need to get a better iPad. I don't know what I bought this new iPad 8 or 9 months ago. It's not even that good. I don't know. Like the old one was better. The old one ran better. So I don't know. But I have an iPad. I've got an iPhone. I think I got like 14 or some shit, and then an iMac. Mainly, the only reason I have the iMac is because of AirDrop, and it's very easy to transfer photos onto my iMac if I have to edit like a long. I really don't edit much on the iMac or anything like that anymore. Only the 9/11 videos that require like photos and stuff. You just hate how he announced it so late. Yeah, I know. That's what I realized. Like, fuck. Well, it's a double whammy for crypto too when he announces it late like that, because you get the first wave and the second wave. Bad start to quarter two. Yeah, I mean, well, it's when you're looking at the very short term picture. Yes, this is definitely for just quarter two of 2025 a bad start. terminate? Is this all the tariffs that they're terminating? Why would they do this? This doesn't make any sense. But why would you? It looked like Trump was gonna have a deal with Canada. I'm gonna have to do a video on this if this is true. I mean, we'll see what happens. But if this is all the tariffs, this is we've gained nothing now. Maybe they'll still be able to work out. I mean, they could still work out a deal probably and be able to. But I don't know. I think there went Trump's leverage if he's not allowed to tariff them. Why is everyone overreacted? We've been talking about these tariffs for months. Well, it's just the amount of tariffs that went into place, and it's like a 10% flat rate on everyone. Apparently they thought they were only going to do like 15 countries or 25 countries, and it's it's a lot more, and the percentages are higher on a lot of these. I mean, China by themselves, it's 54% tariff if you combined today and the other 20%. You think it would be common sense to have reciprocal tariffs, but lib's gonna live? Well, I mean, they're just gonna criticize Trump for anything. When you're talking about the economy, there's trade-offs. There's trade-offs. So yes, there's gonna be some higher prices. We're trying to bring back. I mean, I think Trump is trying to bring back domestic production. So there's gonna be trade-offs. So we can't just do it. The tariff bill is not going anywhere. It's not passing the House, and Trump will veto it anyways. It's dead. Not veto proof. Do you think Trump being harder on countries like China and the European Union could let Apple bring back the Lightning port charger? Because the EU was the one that made them switch. I mean, probably not. I mean, Apple is going to do whatever is cheapest and they can mass produce. Probably not. The Senate vote may just be symbolic. Yeah, but why would conservatives even vote for that though? Yeah, you're right. It's not going to pass. But why would they vote for it? Republicans should give up on pro-life so we can win more. Yeah, dude, that's but it's such a crazy thing. Like the idea that you would be pro-life and that's a negative. You would like the whole pro-choice stuff is just such bullshit. It really is. Like to actually be a good person, you would be pro-life. The idea that that's a losing issue is crazy. And it is a losing issue, 100%. So it's just crazy. Look at the rhinos who voted for it, not surprised. But I mean, look, I'm gonna have to look at the dynamic of these tariffs. That I guess what they're talking about is probably the auto tariffs. I think that's what it is, because I do remember Rand Paul talking about how there were parts that were made in Canada and then they got shipped to the United States and they got shipped back to Canada, and then so it was like a double tariff on certain things and it was going to destroy the industry or something. So if it was for the auto tariffs, that's probably why. But when you just look at the trade relations between the United States and Canada, it was looking very positive for us. Like we had Canada basically, and they said we're going to remove. Now I don't know what Trump was going to do. Trump might have just kept the tariffs on anyways. And he still might. He still might. We'll have to see. Pro-choice, pro-abortion. Well, that's what it is. It is, but they say pro-choice because it sounds nicer. That's still propaganda. but then they take minute cases, fringe things that happen, and they act like that's the rule for, you know, all abortions and stuff, and they talk about SA, and it's like less than 1% of them. It's just ridiculous. Pierre Poilievre said today, if elected, he would resume USMCA negotiations. Well, yeah, I mean, I think anyone elected will. I'd rather negotiate with Carney. I think Carney would be better to negotiate with than him. He's very Canada first. But he, you know, because I wonder if he might hold out. That's the problem with him. I know Carney won it. Senate voting against Trump tariffs really shows their true colors and not to protect American business. Canada has extremely high tariffs on the U.S. for decades. It's ridiculous. Yeah, I mean, but the Canadians will say, well, it's just certain sectors, but ours are in certain sectors like auto, so it's, you know, you can say it's kind of fair. But Canada's are mainly to protect like their farmers and stuff, so we don't flood their markets. That's why it's like 250% on dairy. But I mean, the general thought here is that, you know, if Trump is the president, this is a very just thing he's doing with and you shouldn't interject in the middle of a trade war when a president. We're right now, it's all playing out, you know. It just shows a lack of faith in Trump from some of these Republicans here. It's not a good look at all. Not that anything will come of it, but it's especially considering right now Canada doesn't know who their next leader is going to be. They don't know who their next the party is going to be that leads them. They could get conservative leadership or liberal leadership. We don't know. So I wonder if they're waiting to renegotiate. I think they probably are waiting. If that's what it comes down to. That's if Trump wants to renegotiate, which I think he does, but I don't know for sure, because he could just keep all these tariffs in place. But with him excluding Canada and Mexico, I think he probably just wants to renegotiate the trade deal. Because he excluded them today in the widespread, but he includes China, who already had a 20% tariff. Thoughts on South Africa and the government seizing farmers' land? They're going to have a massive food problem. You know, those white people in South Africa, I know Trump offered them refugee status, and you know what? And then they're going to ask for money from us, and it's not going to happen. We're not going to give them anything. I mean, it's ridiculous. Those people are blatantly racist. Bill was made by Kaine. Yeah. Tim Kaine. Yeah. Rebels were Collins. Yeah, so basically the usual suspects plus Rand Paul. Yeah, but I mean Rand Paul, it's not too big of a surprise considering what he had said about the auto industry. Giving up pro-life to appease pro-murder is insanity. We don't want them. Well, I mean, you have to win races at the end of the day, and it's just one issue. And you could foster a culture that could be more open to stuff. You know, I don't know, just with modern women. You know, I was watching this show on YouTube. It's like this dating show. There's 6 women. They're probably all aged 21 to 26. They all have tattoos, all of them, and it's like sleeve tattoos. It's just disgusting. But you know, I wonder where the country is. You know, they're all like white women, all white women. They all went to college, I'm sure. You know, some of them got like just like tattoos. It's like, oh, you've got something on your arm. Oh, it's a fucking tattoo of a leaf or some shit. Like, it's just it doesn't look good. But it's just this weird culture in America. These girls go to college, and it's just this. I mean, how long does it take to rid that culture? I'm not sure it's fixable because. I mean, but you could argue like I think we have to do something instead of college, especially for women. I mean, it has to be. You could argue, well, they have to. Some of them have to work just because of housing prices and everything like that. But they go to college, and it's just like. And these are these girls. They're cute girls, and they have these fucking tattoos. It's like, oh my god. What is the purpose of this? It's like, oh, it's a cat. It's a fuck. Like. Did you see Ted Cruz bitching at Amy? I saw Ted Cruz bitching at Cory Booker. Did you guys see what Cory Booker did? He like broke the record for the longest time on the Senate floor for nothing. because he wants to launch his 2028 campaign. That's selfish, Corey. That's very selfish. Whatever podcast to see the state of modern women. Yeah, but I think they're on California, so those women, yeah. But it's all OF girls on there and stuff. I've seen that. Won't take long to fix that culture because none of those people are having kids. No, but the problem is like the economics of it all in terms of the cost of everything. I mean, the thing is if you look at like college debt and student loans, women are like, I mean, men are bringing theirs down. Women are like still way up. They get all these useless degrees. You can't pay them back. You get a degree, you're 100K, you're 70K in debt. And the job that you get with the degree pays like 45K year one. I mean, good luck getting out of that hole within 10, 12 years. It's not going to happen. Good luck ever getting out of it. That's why they were trying to get that Biden. I mean, and Biden was never going to do jack shit. He relieved like a few kids, a student debt or whatever, like $10,000 worth. But Biden was never going to do shit. We don't have the money for it. We have a president with a plan to balance the budget. Nobody else has a plan. Let's just give the guy a shot and at least try. I don't understand that. What Trump's plan to balance the budget? Well, if you're talking about tariff revenue is what you're talking about. I mean, I'm not sure. Trump has a tentative plan. I think once we know Trump's budget, we'll understand what Trump really wants to do. But we have seen a lot of underlying thoughts with Trump, and the problem is you do the no tax on tips, the do no tax on overtime. This is all stuff that we're going to need to generate money another way, or we can save money through the Department of Government Efficiency. See, that's why they're all starting to say, well, they're coming after Medicare, Medicaid, and Social Security. Well, it has to be reformed. I don't know what to tell people. Does anyone agree with our current healthcare system? No. So these are nuke type topics to where if you talk about them, it's an automatic loss, and they can just kind of tether you to the topic. Oh, you want to defund Medicare? You can't talk about it. You take away Social Security? Well, no, Social Security is going to be taken away because we can't pay for it because there's not enough workers. Me working right now and other people working right now, we're paying for the Social Security of older people because this is just the way Social Security was designed. But Social Security needs to be reformed. That's what Elon Musk was saying, and then I think Musk has stopped talking about it. They probably said you can't talk about that. You'll get labeled like you're trying to defund Social Security if you talk about it. But I mean, it's going to have to be a big topic, I think, in 2028 at least, because of the situation to where they're not going to have the money in 2033 to pay out the full benefits of Social Security. Biggest clown in politics right now? Probably Jasmine Crockett. But it's more of like a troll with her to where I think even Democrats probably think she's trashy, but they really can't say anything. They'd be deemed a racist if they said anything. But even Democrats are like, all right, bitch, like, come on. This makes our party look terrible. We have no interest in keeping tax revenue this high. Look at what they're doing with our money. Well, no, I agree. The money needs to be spent better, but we're $2 trillion in the hole every single year, and it's growing. So Trump might have a golden goose. I doubt it, because just in terms of how these taxes are done, Trump was talking about being able to close the loopholes on offshore accounts by billionaires and also companies that use these offshore accounts to elude taxes. And maybe that's a golden goose for Trump. I don't know. Jack, thank you for that. Finance and econ major here. Not expecting much price increases from the tariffs. Worst case, you might see some slight increases across the board. That's interesting that you say that. That would be huge if we only got slight increases. That would be amazing off of this. And I agree. I think a lot of it's fear-mongering. Trump did the tariffs against China, and really we saw no difference in terms of price movement. Now, that was certainly less than what this is. But, nobody can really predict how much something is going to go up because of a tariff. But you're going to get all the liberal fear-mongering saying everything's going to go up times 10. rapid response. I'll go to them in a second. Iran. I mean, it's not good. I mean, there's going to be a nuclear deal hopefully with Iran. But I mean, what do you want me to say? We're going to bomb Iran? I mean, it's 3 steps back with Trump if that happens, but let's hope it doesn't happen. South Africa needs 100% tariffs on them. Yeah, I agree. That'd be a great statement from Trump to do that. When are they going to Fort Knox? Hopefully soon, man. You know, hopefully that happens because I still got that coin. You know, that Liberation Day coin went to 900K. Fuck me, man. Fuck me. I bought that coin at 40K. It's like the only coin ever to actually go up, like a news-related coin to go up on the day of the actual event. Like, you're joking. Like, I'm about done buying those. I'm about to just buy, like, well, I'm about to just have, like, 5 or 6 coins, altcoins that I think are going to boom, and just stay in those rather than do all this shit. Because I just get fucked with these trades. Foreign countries will eat the burden of tax in the long run. They ultimately will pay the burden of the tariff. Well, right, their companies are not going to be able to flood us with goods. That's why these foreign companies hate tariffs. And they say, well, tariffs are just on the U.S. companies. Well, yeah, it's a byproduct. It's on to other countries because they're the ones that give us all the goods. Why do you think Canada hates tariffs that we put on? You know, they've got some pop propaganda here on the tariffs. Cash, I mean, you know, Cash Patel talking about these gang members and stuff. But we would love to see the Epstein stuff with that. But I mean, they've done a good job with these tracking down these people, but the deportations as well. Remember how long it took for inflation to take effect after all the stimulus checks? 1 year, 2 years. You wonder if that can happen here? No. We wouldn't be dealing with anywhere close to the same inflation. Now, to be fair to Biden and them, they had to kickstart the economy. But Biden never should have given out that third stimulus check. And also, they waited way too long to raise the interest rates. The interest rates should have been risen months before they finally did it. They took too long, and that contributed. But, you know, Trump pushed out the stimulus checks, 2 of the stimulus checks, be like right around the election, or maybe like one was after, one was before in 2020. And then Biden did his big $1,400 stimulus check. That would have been in early 2021. And then we had some, I mean, it's like a lag effect, so it's going to take some time. Remember, interest rates were 0. I mean, they brought them all the way down. They were trying to stimulate the economy. And I mean, a lot of people got rich because of, you know, certain things went up, but it's not sustainable. It wasn't sustainable. When you're dealing with 9% inflation, they had 9% inflation in Q2 of 2022. 9% inflation, 7% inflation around that same time. There's no way that the Fed had to have been like, all right, we fucked up here. There's no way I mean, inflation was going to go up as a byproduct of what they were trying to do, but not to where it went. I mean, they really fucked up. That is crazy. Was inflation seriously at 9% and then they won the midterms? Oh my goodness. Boy, Roe v. Wade, right? Did you see Fauci wife's was fired? Yeah, insult to injury. Dr. Fauci's wife was fired. There's an insult to injury. What I mean is maybe whatever negative impacts tariff might have, it would take 1 to 2 years to actually hit, and by that time, the positive impact. You're right. It's going to be mitigated. You're right. But yeah, I mean, it's not going to happen immediately. There's always a lag. There's an economic lag when it comes to implementing stuff, unless it's something so drastic. I mean, this is pretty. I mean, these are big tariffs. There's no doubt about it. You know, I wonder with the commitment level of Trump. Maybe he talked about it today and I just didn't listen. Maybe he did. Does anyone know if anyone, any of the press was like, are you committed to these tariffs for your entire administration? Was that question asked? The press, they need to ask that or they're useless. Remember, they wouldn't even ask about Trump with Canada. And Canada's liberal. You really want to take them over? Someone finally asked it. If you want to get a huge crackdown on illegals, come to Northern Virginia. Northern Virginia, that's a hotbed for DC transplants, too. Art teacher, if we're speaking from personal experience, you make 250K while working 30 hours. That's crazy. You must teach at some college or some shit or private lessons. You don't make 250K a year as an art teacher. That's crazy. Looks like Israel is getting more aid to offset their dropping tariffs. You can never escape Israel and the Trump love for them. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, Israel is always going to get a lot of aid from Trump, obviously. He said, yes, tariffs are permanent. No press conference. Well, yeah, but even with Trump saying that, I'm not sure how much I believe it. I mean, you're not going to really want to show your hand. I mean, tomorrow there might be countries that say, okay, we're going to end ours. Tariffs are not permanent. Not sure why you'd think that. Well, I mean, ideally, you would want to have an actual, plan for the economy rather than at some point you would want a plan in place because otherwise there's going to be a continued problem within the stock market in terms of putting on tariffs, taking off, putting on, taking off, putting on, taking off. At some point, you want to have a concise plan. You don't understand how the Mexico auto tariffs still on? Mexico backed down on retaliatory. Well, the Mexico tariffs are still on things that are not protected within the North American Trade Agreement. But I think there's going to be a renegotiation of that agreement, anyways. That would be my guess. I mean, obviously, there's things happening behind the scenes that are not public yet, because Mexico backed down of theirs. It was looking like Canada wanted to remove their tariffs on us. Mm-hmm. The anti-Israel people are back in here. Well, I mean, some of my chat is obvious. I mean, like it's you know, I've gotten to really with Israel. It's just like I'd prefer that I'd prefer a detachment of the Middle East. Honestly, I don't think we need the Middle East anymore for oil. I don't think anything good comes from the Middle East. It's a money drain. It promotes and these countries have animosity against the United States because of our funding of Israel. You're gonna buy the dip, but wait a little longer. Yeah, tomorrow might be the best day to buy, but I mean, you can't pinpoint an exact day. That's but we're probably about there. I mean, this is probably as unless Trump does another day where he puts in a bunch of tariffs, which I just can't see, because this was like his big day. Need news on Thomas Crooks? Yeah, I know. Trump was talking about that. I don't know, man. I don't know if we're gonna get an update on that or not. We probably will at some point. You just gotta wait. Like I can't predict an exact time when that's gonna happen. Trump was talking about Thomas Crooks and said they were starting an investigation or they were doing an investigation. Saskatchewan is going to go conservative. Newfoundland is liberal. Nova Scotia is liberal. New Brunswick is liberal. Manitoba is conservative. Northwest Territories. Come on, man. Will Aaron Judge break the home run record? What, 73? I mean, he's got those bats. They give him juice balls. They got MLB needs to allow him to break it. Let him break it. Who gives a fuck? I mean, Barry Bonds has it with his roids. Tesla. I thought the Tesla earnings call already happened. I guess not. I saw that their projections were really low. I mean, obviously their projections are going to be really low. Their dealerships are getting firebombed. Whatever happened to Signalgate? It's just a news cycle. It went away. It's not important enough. Thoughts on Piers Morgan tweet? I mean, I don't really give a shit about Piers, honestly, but was it like the Cuban? You want a $4.5 trillion tax cut for all your corporate buddies, but like, why do they say this? You know, when Trump put that tax plan in 2017, that lowered taxes for everyone. But they always say this fake manipulation, like, oh, it just the rich people got their taxes lower. Trump's global tariff war is either going to be spectacular success or a total disaster. Well, I mean, honestly, the funny thing about this is it's probably going to be somewhere in the middle, because that's what economics are. They're a trade-off. Do you think we see Timmy? Thank you for that. Do you think the chances are? What do you think the chances are we see any significant federal income tax cut for the lower and middle class? Listen, this is what I could say. Trump wants to do something radical when it comes to, you're right, the middle and lower class. I'm not. I know some Republican governors have talked about eliminating state income taxes. When it comes to just the income tax in general, I don't know. I mean, Trump has flirted with the idea of no federal taxes under 150K. I'm not sure how plausible that is, because you're going to have to generate like $1 trillion in revenue somehow. But there is something to what Trump is thinking, because what Trump is saying is, because of capitalism, and it's very easy to make money once you have money compound. You know, these rich people already pay so much fucking taxes anyways. People under like 100K are such a low contribution in terms of our tax revenue. You could potentially just eliminate it. But I mean, you know, you're talking about making up that money elsewhere. That's why they're trying to cut all this fucking shit, like the USAID and all this. Things have to be cut. They have to be cut. We have to try and save money somewhere if Trump's going to implement more tax cuts for us. So hopefully though, they're able to do something. I mean, you know, with what Trump is trying to do here, if that person was right, they said, well, you know, they work in econ, or they have a degree. You know, if they're right and they're like, well, the prices will barely rise, and we generate like $300 or $400 billion off of that, I mean, that's a huge win. And then that also spurs more domestic production, more manufacturing, investing into the United States, which is only going to help. So, you know, I think there's a path to doing that. I do, in terms of significantly lowering the tax burden on the middle class and the lower class because of capitalism and how much rich people already pay. Because again, I mean, through capitalism, you can make a fuck ton of money, and so you can use that to your government's advantage. But you don't want to tax the people crazy, because then you'll lose them. They'll go to another country, or you know, they're not going to make as much money, and their avenues are not going to be as successful. APAC shills be gone. Get some potato soup. Yeah, I do like potato soup. You're right on that. I was gonna do an April Fool's joke. I was gonna say I work for APAC, or I was gonna say this. This is what I was gonna tweet out. Full disclosure: I take money from APAC and Russia. Full transparency. I should have done that. That would have been my April Fool's joke. Anna Luna been a grifter. Yeah, Anna Paulina Luna is, I guess, people are, what are people angry at her for? What, I said for, not for. What are people angry at her for? Huh. Canada is sending seized hunting rifles to the front line in Ukraine. Well, that's a perfect example of a NATO country. Here, take our hunting rifles that we don't use anymore. They've been seized. And this is our contribution. Yeah, that's pretty typical outside of the United States. That's a NATO country contribution. You're right. USAID was designated to give non-white countries free food. Well, look at the Paris Climate Accord. You look at some of these things, we just get screwed to shit on them, and it doesn't help us at all. Like, we have to give up money because we're a big country. That's genuinely what it is. But even something like the Paris Climate Accord, if we're $37 trillion in debt, how are we giving up any money for this? Because the whole idea is, well, you're a rich country, so you have to give money to poor countries to help support climate change. We have no money. But I mean, it's not much money, but I'm just saying. You know, what is it, like a few billion dollars or something? Which obviously, in the grand scheme of things in the U.S. economy, is nothing. But I mean, can we try and balance the budget with Trump? And then liberals are like, well, conservatives always run up the debt. Well, yeah, at least we give tax cuts. How about Biden running up the debt like fucking crazy? What are you drinking? I'm not drinking anything anymore. My mouth is dry as shit. At least I don't have to go to the bathroom. You couldn't risk the unsubs of it. Yeah, I don't know if you say that, but you say that on X, it's not, you're not gonna really. There's not gonna be many people that unsub for you for that. Because if you say it on X, it's like a different platform. That's too much work is required to unsub. Anna Luna wants mothers to vote from. Oh, that's what it was. You're right. So the debate was about moms being able to vote from home because they're taking care of their kids. Yeah, and I think the obvious thing is, well, they shouldn't be in that position in government. Between 2000 and 2016, France lost 60K millionaires due to high taxes. Well, Europe has been crippled by that. Look at the lack of innovation in Europe. Oh, the UK. I mean, they really could have been a serious, like the EU could have been. I mean, they have Brexit, which hurt them, but they could have been a serious force. I mean, an interesting topic is like when you compare. I mean, you compare the UK with the EU, with the United States, with China on AI innovation. Oh my God. Both the UK and the EU are so far behind. So far behind. And just in terms of the stuff that they've, the companies that they've produced, or lack of companies that they've produced. So are we going to war with Iran or what? Well, no. No, there's a nuclear deal that they're working out right now. There's actually a let's look at this. It's got to be a nuclear deal or something. I think they're working out. Yeah, they're gonna work this out. Proxy voting, that's what it is. women should not be in Congress if they're pregnant. No, well, yeah, I agree with you 100%. It's just a common thing. I mean, if you're pregnant, how can you be present in Congress and voting? CNN did a whole segment today with Jake Tapper about some kid from another country who didn't get medical treatment because USAID was defunded. Well, listen, we're sorry that he wasn't able to get the treatment. We have no money. We're $2 trillion in debt every year. We don't have money to give. That's why they're trying to save money. So I listen. We're sorry about this, but there's nothing we can do. I mean, maybe the EU can help or something. They can do something. Oh wait, they're useless. Oh, Mike, you're gonna make me go on for 3 hours about voting rights, Mike. I don't know if I want to do that. Thoughts on if you haven't paid taxes in the past year, you shouldn't be able to vote? It's one of those things to where it's like, well, no, man, I agree with the voting standard being raised, but people will just say, well, you're a racist conservative, so it's like, all right. But I mean, it won't happen. There's no way you're going to get radical changes in voter rights with our current setup with checks and balances. You need too many liberals to agree to it. Stats on male to female, it's like 92-8. It's like 90, and a lot of the 8% is like people that watch the Titanic videos. The women, I mean, it's not high. Maybe it's 90-10. How do you see 2028 going? I'm so sick of funding liberals in this country, no matter what Trump does. They think that he is bad. We have to do something about the media before 2028. The liberalism is too rampant in this country to. I mean, we could win in 28. Republicans could. Um, but it's just the current setup. I'm not sure, with checks and balances, we're going to really be able to pass anything that's transformational in terms of really changing the country and putting it in the direction where we want it to go, because the country's already been changed significantly with demographics. And by the way, it's not slowing down. It's not like Trump's committed to doing something about that. Well, and to be fair to Trump, there's really nothing you can do because of our birth rates. But liberals hating Trump, man, that's just, it is what it is. They're just going to say everything is bad with Trump. And I mean, dude, they would do obviously they have a serious hatred for Trump, but it's just politics in the United States. They would hate on any conservative that's in power. The only conservatives that they would like is if they're like non-threatening, or they're conservatives that are very moderate. So you want the media to hate. If we're the conservative, and we want CNN to hate whoever we have in, absolutely. Because otherwise, the person who's in is weak. Notice how the U.S. has been giving away supplies to other countries. Meanwhile, China has been investing. Yeah, well, I just saw a crazy. God, what is that called? It's not I don't think it's a dam, but China is building some crazy shit to generate power and generate just electricity. It's remarkable what China is doing. But I mean, you know what? China has such an advantage over us in terms of just raw manpower, like with manufacturing and stuff. It's insane, some of the structures that they build, like for manufacturing and for. It might have been a dam that they were building, just blows us out of the water. They've got the two biggest solar panel farms in the entire world. It never made sense, how do they have the two biggest solar panel farms in the world when we have the most sun hours, in Yuma, Arizona? It doesn't make any sense. But they just have such a bigger population than us, and they can skirt labor laws, and it's. You work in tech, which is pretty liberal. The conversations you hear on a daily basis are insane. Yeah, I know. I mean, go on Reddit a single day. I mean, most of those people are fake, but it's you know, this liberalism, it has captured Europe, and it's trying to get hold of the, you know, liberalism really suffered a blow when Trump wasn't jailed. They were, and maybe it was just a small blow, but they suffered a blow. They wanted Trump in jail. They wanted him disqualified from running. And, you know, they were able to ban him from all social media after January 6th. It was working. The liberals, they said, you know, they didn't allow the National Guard to come in on January 6th to make it as bad as possible. They wanted it to be terrible. They wanted people to get injured on January 6th so it would look worse for Trump. All of that's real. But I'm sure the conversations you've heard are probably just horrible. I mean, it's, you know, I listen to some of this stuff. I mean, I make these videos, and you look online, and it's just constant craziness. Threatening Russia with more sanctions. They've already been sanctioned over 17,000 times. Is ineffective with BRICS. They rarely use USD anymore. Yeah, I mean, the Trump sanctions on Russia, I think, were a more symbolic thing to try and get Putin to the table and to say, I'm not a kiss up to Putin totally. Because that was more of an opinion change. Like, oh, he's actually going to try and push Putin into a ceasefire. But, I mean, that was the whole goal originally. That's why there was no original agreement to a peace deal, because a lot of the EU thought they could sanction Russia to death, and it just didn't work. Crazy how Reddit has been saying this could be the last Democratic election. Dude, they're still saying it. You know, I forgot what it was, but you could go really anywhere. Any token liberal, it's like, we're fighting for democracy. They're still saying it. But you know what? They've given up Project 2025, I feel like. I haven't heard that anymore. But they still think, you know, something's going to happen where Trump is just going to be able to install himself. And do you think Le Pen's sentence will make her and her party more popular? Well, I mean, the thing is, with the French, their election is not until 2027, so it was a while. I saw the polls. She was winning by 17 points. She had, you know, with the French, they've got like so many different parties, but she was at 37. The next closest was 20. Yeah, I mean, that's just insane what they try to charge her with, and she's appealing it, and hopefully she'll win that. But, and you know, just the verbiage, they label her far right. It just, you know, any right-wing person is automatically far right. The only people they would consider right-wing is if they're really like liberal, but more moderate liberal. Make a video about Islam in Texas. Epic City is what it was called, right? I saw a video on that. Well, from what I saw, this is already in place. They're expanding it.
402 acres of beautiful scenery. Welcome to the future of living. Welcome to Epic City. Nestled in the heart of Josephine, Texas. It is about 20 miles and 20 minutes from Epic.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar.
Welcome to Epic 2.0.
You know what this reminds me of? It reminds me of China buying farmland. Like, these things systematically should not be allowed. I know we love independence and freedom and stuff, but
Epic City is more than just a neighborhood. It's a way of life, a meticulously designed community that brings Islam to the forefront, a community that blends with nature, crafted to elevate your living experience. With single-family homes, multi-family townhomes, and apartments.
This is like you know, some of this stuff I see, it's just like, and this is like it because this is an actual presentation of it. It's a full Islamic community in the dead center of a Republican state. Reminds you of Trump Gaza. Dude, the Trump video. Not the Trump video, man. The Trump video had a jingle, though. Donald Trump will set you free, bringing peace to the Middle East or some bullshit. And then there's Elon Musk. And then there's Trump and Netanyahu at the... I mean, the self-awareness on Trump is got... I don't think he posted that. I think someone had to post that for him on his Truth Social. Is this really happening? I thought it already happened and they were expanding it. Someone told me that it had already happened and they're trying to expand it. You saw the video of Candace Owens saying MAGA is shilling for Elon and he should get banned from power. Yeah, it's a joke. She didn't even list the fact that he saved free speech on Twitter. Real estate forces decide who will live there and not. You could just create well, couldn't they just buy up all the land if they wanted to do this? And then allow, you know, Muslims to live there? They announced it in 2024. I know. Somebody in the chat just kept mentioning it like a few days ago when I was streaming. Usually Candace has some rationale. Did she say why she thinks that about Elon? Well, dude, with Candace, like, I understand Candace, I get it, but you know, it's you know, all Israel hate. That's what it is with her. And I understand, I get it with the Trump and in Israel, but you have to understand that's what it is. But now with Musk, she's like, oh, but Musk has done nothing to help to have any conservative values. What about saving free speech on the internet? She doesn't even mention it. So, like, I'm not saying Musk is this perfect guy, but you know how it is with some of these people. You know, they get tunnel vision on certain things, and then it's all criticism of MAGA. There's this thing going on with the right where it's just constant criticism of Trump. You know, Trump is facing a lot right now. I'm trying to support Trump, and you know, I'm just trying to support him. And there is things you have to criticize him for. I agree, but with Musk, it's like, come on, Musk is his dealerships are being firebombed. He's lost so much, and I know he's rich and everything like that. But seriously, I mean, this is a negative for him. To become part of an administration, you're automatically going to be hated by half of your consumer base. This is not like something that's like, oh, he's just... See, liberals originally tried to say, well, Musk is just going to give him all these great government deals, and he's with, you know, it's insider. You know how much money he's lost because of this? It's a lot. So the idea that he would just be doing this for himself is... I mean, this is how it works. These rich people, they get power. They have money. Money buys power. It is what it is. If you want to have a functioning political campaign, you need money. Candace's husband is not even American. Yeah, he's a Brit, I think. Candace supports him, just critical on Israel. She gets 1 million view per video. Ben Shapiro gets 50K. Well, I mean, you know, I don't know. I guess, you know, she gets more views. It's good for her, I guess. I don't... RFK files. The RFK files? Yeah, those are coming next after the JFK. Well, didn't they release the RFK as well? Or maybe not. No, I think they just did JFK. So yeah, the RFK files, the what about RFK Jr. being blackmailed by Israel? Remember Ian Carroll was like, guys, this is gonna break this weekend. Where is it at? Well, I don't know where it went. Right. This is exactly my point. Didn't they just fold this morning? Um, yeah, that can't go through. Andrew Schultz calling out Ryan Clark, saying he protects black women. Dude, well, dude, Ryan Clark called Andrew Schultz so racist, and then he's like, "Fuck you." Uh, what do you think of the Wisconsin election? Seems like we have to go more establishment without Trump on the ballot. How nervous are you about Iran? Well, those are two very long-winded answers I would be giving you on that. Because I mean, the Wisconsin stuff, very bad result, very bad, but even worse than we thought. You know, we saw the polling; it was 7 or 8 points for Crawford. Okay, this is disappointing because originally people were like, "Oh, this is 50-50." It's but then there was an expectation. Poly Market had like 95% chance. The Republican Schimmel was going to lose, but then it's a 10-point loss. So 10-point loss. You look at the Florida special elections, the performance wasn't the best. The candidates weren't the best. Without Trump, it could be an issue, man. I mean, but when you compare that to like a midterm, you could compare that more so to the midterms than to a general, just because everybody knows about the general. But yeah, it could be a bit of a problem in midterms. But that's with the liberals, man. They're a cult. They vote for everything. They've got a base that is educated on which elections are happening at when, and with Republicans, it seems to be a lot more performative in terms of, there's a lot of stuff happening on social media, but there's very little substance when it comes to, the actual result and the ground game from what I see. Because it seems like, I mean, maybe it's just my echo chamber, maybe liberals have it as well, but it just seems like there's so much, with Elon being there and all these people talking about it, it's so important. And there's a lot of, there's a lot of zazz to it, but then there's very little actually happening. I mean, a 10-point loss is abysmal in Wisconsin, and basically a de facto, it's going to decide 2 districts, and they're going to redraw them, and it's not going to be good. But I mean, it doesn't decide the House. It was kind of a scare tactic to say that, but it will possibly have an. I haven't seen the recent numbers in terms of the betting on the House, but for last time I saw it was 70-30 Dems take it. So, but again, it's very early. A lot of this will depend on these tariffs getting put in place and how good the economy is and everything like that. Thoughts on Bill Maher meeting Trump? Yeah, I mean, Maher has his grift of, he talks to everyone. That's good for him, I guess. And it was set up by Kid Rock. And so, I saw that he met him, and there was a report that Bill Maher brought like a list of all the negative things Trump said about Maher, and Trump signed it. So, you talk to the other side, it's good. Yeah, but if I play, this is a 4-minute clip. It's like, this is the problem. Abortion still holds a stranglehold over court elections in swing states in 2025. Unfortunately, it could only be abortion. Yeah, abortion is such a negative topic for conservatives. It's crazy. Left my husband after getting an $11,000 nose job. Modern women. Huh. Thomas Massey tweet, people are back. Oh my goodness. There's nothing that I really see. Mainstream media completely ignoring column 2 of Trump's tariff table. Yeah, I know, but that is administration propaganda. But I know why he did it. I mean, it is to understand that these countries are still taking advantage of us more than we are of them, and it's just reciprocal. And but obviously the mainstream media is not going to look at that because that's more of a it looks better for Trump, so they're not going to show that. Yeah, I know the column that you meant, man. Caroline Levitt had a nose job, really? A lot of these girls. A lot of these girls get a nose job. Well, let me get something. I gotta bring this out. At least I'm not. At least I don't have to piss right now. How do you get a girlfriend being conservative? I mean, it's. I would say stay off the apps. You gotta meet someone probably. Church, donut, and coffee. I mean, I guess. Imagine if Trump is successful at going after financial fraud, offshore bank accounts with money laundering operations. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's why I said that's the white whale. You're right, that's the white whale. If he can do that, that's the missing component, because then it's like, the thing is, the drawbacks of like taxing these companies and stuff is losing their business in the United States. But I don't think you would lose, if Apple has offshore accounts and all this stuff, and it's tax manipulation. Imagine if Trump goes after that and saves like 500 billion. I don't know if it's going to happen. They said they could save $1 trillion from it, but I mean, that's a white whale, and that's really just positive. We always have trade-offs, but that would just be pure positive, I think. A nose job is 100 times better than a septum piercing. Yeah, well, a nose job is just facial enhancement that if you've never met the girl before she got the nose job, you wouldn't really know. The piercing is just, it's like it's like a cow. Rogue Nation, come on, man. I've done too many of these streams. Rogue, I've done too many of these streams, man. Come on. I mean, it was an okay one, but it's not a realistic name. That's the problem, man. Give me a realistic name. Opinions on the Iran war. Iran is much more heavy caliber than any of the other Middle Eastern affairs. How much do you think it would tank Trump's approval rating with a direct conflict? Well, I mean, it depends what you qualify as a direct conflict. What is it, just the U.S. bombing them? I don't know, man. I mean, it's not going to be good. There's just such little support for these actions in the Middle East that are really just any action in the Middle East that escalates things for the United States is going to be viewed as a serious negative by a lot of people within the conservative party. Obviously, the older folk, some people will be fine with it, but there is a segment of the Republican Party that's just not going to fly. So it's going to be a big issue if there's, depending on how much escalation there is. It'll probably be Israel with U.S.-backed missiles, things like that. I mean, I don't know what the escalation would be exactly, how much Trump wants to push it, but Israel's already done strikes there. So now that they have Trump as kind of a enforcer as opposed to what Biden was, which was more of like a bitch boy, which honestly is a better policy in the Middle East nowadays, is to be a bitch boy, because you don't want to escalate anything. But ideally, you want to leave the region. Thoughts on black South Africans saying targeting whites is justified for segregation in the past? Well, they've been racist against whites have been minorities in South Africa's forever. So I don't know what they're talking about in terms of that, but it's always based on past history, and it always ends up being white people's fault. Weather bad over here in India. Oh, dude, you want to talk about the weather today? Let me respond to this crypto comment first, and then I'll talk about the weather. What is your next crypto plans? 420, still in Epstein. Any narrative plays? Yeah, well, dude, you should have seen this one. I got fucked over on this coin. Yeah, but I'm looking to get my portfolio together. I probably got like 5 or 6 coins that I'm gonna keep as I think Optimus. I think it is Elon's robot. I'm gonna make a play in that. But let me show you something. Yeah, well, this thing's down to 32K. But listen, this is crazy. So I had bought this coin. When did I buy this coin? Dude, I swear I bought this coin when it was like right here. So I bought the coin probably around 37K. I didn't have a lot of faith in this coin. This is a narrative play. It's called, Liberation Day. We knew that it was going to happen with Trump. So I'm like, all right, this is, this coin's going to tank. There's no way. So I sold out of it after like a 1.5x maybe. And then the coin ended up going to like 150K. I was like, you gotta be kidding me. Then I thought, that's it. Obviously, it's sell the news. There's no way. On the day of, it's gonna tank. And then it goes to 9. It wouldn't have made me rich or anything, but I'm just sick and tired of dealing with these coins. I really am getting sick of it. That's why I'm about to do long-term investing, honestly. But I'll show you the news coins. Yeah, this Epstein coin is still, this is still a good chart. I'm sorry. It's a good chart. It's a good looking chart. This is accumulation. Wait for the news. Give us a pump to 600 or 700K. This thing's holding up above 100K. But yeah, the weather. We had horrible weather today. It was like crazy thunder. Just insane. Thunder, heavy thunder for like 2.5 hours. I'm also in Knox as well. This is another one. Let it accumulate around 100K. Wait for the news. Not financial advice. Just wait for the news. 9/11. I'm not in this coin yet. I might take a look at buying this coin. I'm hoping Trump's going to come out with some documents. We need some documents on 9/11. There's not a lot of news on that, though. You're worried about the midterms? Well, you can't worry about the midterms right now, man. There's too much going on in life to be worried about the midterms that are taking place in 18 months from now. Don't worry about the midterms, man. The midterms are going to come. We're going to see it. We're going to have a better economic picture. If you're constantly wrong with your crypto timing, then do the opposite. Well, yeah, but you can't really do the opposite because then you overthink yourself. You're like, would I do this or not? Would I do that or not? So it's not that easy. But there's some things. It's like when things are going to go up, but then sometimes it doesn't work out properly. Like Grock 3 is another one. But now Grock 4, you want to see some people that are greedy. I'm not going to buy this coin because these people have ruined the coin. These people have ruined this coin. I liked Grock 3. I liked getting in when it was 50K. This thing is not coming out until August. Why are people... you're ruining it. You've ruined the buying win. I guess I should have bought it down here. But I didn't think it would be 250K with 4 months until it's launched. It's remarkable. How much do you really usually put into the meme coins? It depends. My trading portfolio is around 9K right now is what I have. But obviously it's split up. It's not like I put 9K into a coin. It's a lot less than that. We have to hope GTA 6 coin having a good run this fall. Yeah, hopefully GTA 6 coin does well. You know, I might have to parlay and move after this trailer. No, I think I'm going to keep the GTA 6 coin even after the trailer, but maybe the GTA 6 coin gets parlayed into Optimus, because I think Optimus is going to have a run. I really think so. Musk is going to start talking about the robots. Israeli official is shocked. We are in shock. They thought the move, because Israel canceled their tariffs, but Trump keeps the 17% on Israel. Yeah, this is good for Trump. This is good. Trump keeps the 17% tariff on Israel. Israel is not too happy about it. What state are you in? I'm in Ohio. No, I'm kidding. I'm in Nebraska. Thoughts on Don Jr.? You know, Don Jr.'s fine. I don't really listen to his show at all. Don Jr. just is, he comes off a little bit. I don't know. I don't think John Jr. would be good in terms of political office. What type of car do you want? Some type of luxury sedan, probably. Will Lego prices ever drop? No, I don't think so. Well, depends how much. I mean, Lego prices, I never bought any of the Lego sets. I haven't bought a Lego set in forever. But Lego is just out of control with their prices. You know, what happened with Lego is they, pretty much with inflation, all the prices rose, but then they just stay the same. They never bring them back down. That's the problem. No, they're not. They get billions in aid. They're pissed off, dude. Trump just stood up to Israel. Yeah, I'll come up with a video tomorrow. The right, some of these people would be so angry. What if I was just like, Trump just stood up to Israel? This is based. Who do you watch for political content? Podcasts. So like mainly podcast clips, honestly. Depending on who Rogan has on, or clips on X from, I guess, whatever clips shows up on my feed. But mainly clips on X or short form podcast clips on YouTube. In terms of like actual news, I mean, a lot of the news is just from X. Sometimes the Piers Morgan debates, I guess. Other debates as well, but not related to like news. How about a luxury tank? I'm not even sure you can buy a tank. Maybe an old tank. You have it out in the country. There's something really nice about rural areas in the spring. Like, I don't know, rural areas with a lot of land. But you can't stay in them too long, but it's just something nice driving in rural areas. Physical gold coin is mooning. Well, it makes sense, it's gold. Now let me actually 268. I wouldn't say it's mooning yet, man. 200%. With X, you don't even watch political content besides my show. Yeah, I mean, X just, it's because, I mean, whether you like X or it still has so much information. no matter no matter what. Donald Trump didn't add any new tariffs to Canada. We still have steel and aluminum like every other country. Yeah, so Canada didn't really get hit with any tariffs. Any news on Greenland independence from Denmark or the U.S. acquisition of Greenland? You think Vance and Trump meant? Well, I'm sure they talked about it probably even right after it happened, but I haven't heard anything on. I mean, you know how it is with the news cycle. Greenland will be back in the news at some point, but you're right. I mean, I just how does that situation get pushed forward? I'm not sure exactly. You ever get on Rumble? Alex Jones is that? Well, Alex is also on X. I see Alex clips on X. Dude was posting himself shirtless. He was trying to like flex his weight loss. People were accusing him of Ozempic. I highly doubt Alex is on Ozempic. But I don't really watch much of Rumble just because I just don't like I don't like the interface. What Epstein corner are you in? I'm in the main one. It's the one that has price history. It's here, I'll show you it. I mean, there probably are a few, but this is pretty obvious. This is the main one. I mean, look at the price history on it. It goes back to January. It went up to, I mean, oh yeah, I do remember when it went to 800K, I was going to say. Yeah, this is the main one. Whatever happened to Roger Stone? Roger, I sometimes I'll see Roger on the timeline. Right, Roger will pop up maybe once every 2 weeks, once every 3 weeks for me. Yeah, I think he's still, he used to do interviews with Alex Jones. I don't know if he does that anymore, but I'm sure he's very happy that Trump won. You got 20 million coins at 9K market cap, then it's sent to 150K, but you trimmed most of it. On Epstein? At 9K? Or what coin are you talking about? Thoughts on hookup culture destroying the country? Well, it's just modern, modern dating. And yeah, I mean, obviously, when it's that easy, you got all the dating apps. It's going to just beckon in hookups and all of that stuff. And so, I mean, it's a combination of things, but it's social media. You pray that Alberta becomes a 51st state. Canada is broken. Are you from Alberta? I know a lot of people in Alberta. They want to do that. I mean, we'll see what happens with Carney or Polvier. On Smokemon, I don't know what that coin is, man. Yeah, dude, Pump Fund. You bought on Pump Fund? Oh, I would never recommend anyone buys anything on Pump Fund. I don't think I've had one successful migration on a coin that I bought, but I haven't bought coins in like forever on Pump Fund. Will we ever find out the truth of what happened to Epstein? Well, there's not going to be an official truth from the government, but you can kind of put the pieces together. Hopefully, if anything comes out. But I don't think there'll be any, it's like the JFK stuff. They're not going to officially tell you X, Y, and Z did this and then this, When do you think the last time Biden had his mental faculties? Biden as the VP to Obama was, I'd probably say then. I mean, you could argue, I mean, the crazy thing is, even looking back at Biden's 2020 debates, like, he lost so much, but they were saying he was bad in 2021, like, gone. But even his 2020 debates were so much better than anything, post 2022. It was like sometime in there, like in the 2020, because his debates were not terrible. even his debates against Trump. Remember, what was it that Biden got COVID or something? Or I think it was Trump. Yeah, Trump got COVID in the fall of 2020, and Trump wanted to reschedule. They were going to do 3 debates, and it never ended up happening. And this time, I mean, Trump and Kamala only had 1 debate, and they accused Trump of not wanting to debate Kamala again because he was winning and she wanted another debate. Yeah, I don't know if my audio is doing this. You guys are trolling me. You're trolling me. I'm not going to fall for it. What happened to Bill Burr? Yeah, they're trolling me, bro. Come on. I'm sick of this. Yeah, but that doesn't happen with audio, man. Your audio just won't go bad for nothing. Come on. It's a very common thing on YouTube streams. All right, well then leave and come back in. No troll. All right, I trust some of you guys saying no troll. I trust you. It probably isn't a troll. It probably seriously is. Just exit out of the stream and then come back in. Audio is fine for you. Pats, I appreciate that, man. Your audio is fine, 0 issues. Audio is lagging, no joke, 1 joke. I know, but how does this you know what, maybe it does happen with YouTube streams, I don't know. You sold your uranium mining stocks for titty twister coin? That's a well, listen, I never told you to buy that meme coin. I know you're trolling. Should you be worried because you live in Wisconsin? Well, it's gonna change the districts there for sure. You could argue Wisconsin just in terms of a state level is a little bit more liberal because of the big cities, Madison and Milwaukee. But look, it is what it is. I mean, we'll see what happens with the midterms, but and when it comes to the presidential election, I mean, to me, it's still a pure swing state. You could have lost a lot of viewers by leaving like that. Well, when I went to get a drink. Sold your DJT for 100x profit? You trolling, man. Come on. When do you think the big news? Well, this was big news tonight, honestly. But big news in general, I don't know. I mean, there's going to have to be huge updates on the Iran situation, on the Ukraine situation, on the Taiwan situation. So there's a lot of stuff just in terms of military-wise. They got voter ID. That was a crazy. People want voter ID. I mean, that was remarkable how well the voter ID outran at Schimmel. Will the Guardians ever go back to the Indians, maybe under a new ownership? I mean, you know, we would have to have a cultural shift. I mean, we kind of saw it with the Redskins. There was a push to get the Redskins name back. I don't know how far that ended up, and they said they weren't doing it. But, you know, that's a cultural issue. So it'd have to shift a little bit. All right, guys, that's going to do it for this live stream. I'm going to end it here. You bought 5K of NVIDIA stock. Yeah, I mean, you could. A lot of the market is down right now. If you just bought it, I mean, probably it'll end up being a good purchase. Are you Big 10, SEC, Big 12, ACC, or I'd say Big 10. AOC announces she will have the longest speech. Yeah, AOC is going to be on the Senate floor. We got to hear it for 50 hours. Well, Cory Booker just, he's running for 2020 ed, I'm guessing, after that speech. Futures down huge. I know, but that was always going to happen. People said, well, maybe it was priced in, but the market was always going to tank a little bit. There was some analysis over under on Trump's weight 239. Well, wasn't Trump when he was fat like 230? Or maybe, I think that's what he lied about his weight. He said he was 230. Yeah, Trump is probably like 225, 230. He's lost like 20 pounds, they said. And he did lose some weight. I mean, maybe he's he's a good 6'2". They said he's shrinking though. When you get older, you shrink a little bit. Binged watch your 9/11 videos. Appreciate it. Yeah, man, I appreciate that. Seriously, I got another one coming out here soon. I might decide to finish the video tomorrow. I don't know. I've only got like 4 minutes of it so far. Yeah, guys, make sure you like the stream before you leave. Well, actually, I'm not sure it matters if you like the stream now. I should have said earlier. Because it doesn't matter now. Imagine Kamala Harris 24-hour speech. Yeah, well, Cory Booker did basically that. He did a 24-hour speech. It's all bad. I mean, it's all performance art. Mark Carney literally saying auto tariffs taking effect tonight. Well, the auto tariffs are different from what was announced today. The auto tariffs are different, but Carney will always have the fear mongering because it's important for them. Important for the Liberal Party to have it. All right, guys, I'll be seeing you. You can follow me on X.